Plus, I'm a tinkerer, so I love to tinker. It's hard to take that away from somebody who's a miner. So that'd be the first thing, is that to take me away from mining, it would have to still look an awful lot like tinkering, right? So that would definitely get my attention.
Hello, welcome to Crypto Interviews. My name is Claudio, and this is Cryptochain, the channel that brings you crypto news, reviews, tutorials, and interviews with a focus on the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems. But today we're going to wave around that, and we're going to talk about crypto mining with Seth. We've got on this channel once again. I've had him on a couple of times. We've discussed crypto mining and also crypto mining in China because we had the issue with the ban. So in today's video, we're going to focus on what's going to happen with crypto mining in 2022. Is it still profitable? Will it still be here to stay? Should we worry or should we get into it? Seth, welcome. If you could please just give us a quick summary, just a bit of background about yourself for people that have never seen you before and don't have the time to watch the older videos, even though they should, right?
Sure. No, I hear you. I mean, and crypto in a crypto, 1 minute is like a day, and 1 day feels like a week, and a week feels like a year sometimes. So I totally get it. You want to stay always up to date with what's current. So if anybody here is lurking on the Cryptochain channel and you haven't subscribed, I'm going to quickly give a call to action, tell you guys to sub right now. Don't go anywhere. Sub right now.
Thank you very much.
Don't just lurk. But my background is I was a corporate trainer for a couple of Fortune 50 companies. I worked for some names you may have heard of: AT&T, Dell, Google, Microsoft, and is that all? No, Samsung Telecom USA as well. That's another one that maybe people have heard of. And I left that whole life behind after I decided to start moving towards cryptocurrency and content creation in this space. I got my start on YouTube a few years ago, making a spreadsheet that helped people who wanted to get started in mining at home with maybe some equipment they already had lying around to make a decision as to what might be the most profitable type of equipment to mine with and what might be one of the most profitable coins for them to start with. And so it was a very humble little video about just me talking, some voiceover with a spreadsheet in Google Docs, and it, people really liked it. And so I continue to make media. And now fast forward to today, I've been able to interview Roger Ver. I've been able to interview Charles Hoskinson, been able to interview Peter McCormack, been able to jump onto Around the Blockchain, a show that you and I both frequent on occasion, and just been very, very fortunate, very blessed to make good friends and make some really great content with folks such as yourself. So thanks for having me back on the show. Really appreciate it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, that's great. Absolutely. And you're always welcome to come on, especially when we have something to share as well to hopefully help the audience. So now the first question I've got for you is in relation to crypto mining at the moment. And let's say in 2021, how has it been? Like, has it been a good year? Has it been a bad year compared to the bear market? Would you say that it was a profitable year to mine? And if so, which would you say is the best cryptocurrency to mine in 2021? At least so far, right? Let's say from January till December.
Yeah, phenomenal. So first off, for crypto miners, for GPU miners specifically, there are different kinds of hardware that can be used for proof of work mining in cryptocurrency. So for the benefit of your audience, anybody who's not familiar with the difference there, the systems that are most frequently spoken of by Claudio here on Cryptochain, such as Polkadot and some of the other ecosystems that he talks about with smart contracts that use proof of stake, they don't require these expensive and loud and hot machines to to crunch numbers and guess at hashes to figure out which is the correct one to then write a block into the blockchain. That is proof of work mining, and various different kinds of hardware can mine different kinds of coins. So a laptop, for example, or maybe even something as simple as like a tablet with just a simple processor inside of it actually can do this kind of work. It's just not very profitable for those machines. But a gaming rig, right? Like if you wanted to build a really killer gaming rig because you want to become famous on Twitch, right? Like Ninja and the other guys, have a gaming rig like what those YouTubers have. The GPU, the graphics card inside of it, is very good at mining a few different kinds of coins. And top of that list for many, many years now has been Ethereum. It kind of falls in and out of profit. And from 2020 into 2021 and all throughout 2021, Ethereum has been at the very top of the leaderboard for mining profitability on a consistent basis. There have been some other coins that have kind of had these like spikes of profitability, or if you mined early on, you would have been able to ride an extremely profitable run up to their new all-time high that happened during this bull run. But for the most predictable high profits, most at-home GPU miners have just been mining Ethereum all year long, and they've been very happy with their mining profits.
And to actually mine Ethereum, like how much would you have to invest on average in the equipment, in those GPUs, to be able to, let's say, actually generate some income with the Ethereum? Because I'm thinking that the difficulty is high, right? Probably not as difficult as Bitcoin, but it's high, right?
Yeah, no, that's accurate. It is a quite high difficulty. And if it's okay, what I'd love to do is share my screen to show a little bit of data to validate what we're about to talk about here. Because you asked about, okay, what if you want to actually earn some income? Let's do two scenarios. Okay, let's say like side hustle income, right, where it's maybe $100 a day. Right. It's
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair amount. Yeah.
We'll start there as a target, because I think for most people, if you had an extra $100 a day coming in purely in crypto in profit, most people would say, okay, maybe I'd like to do this for the long run if I can, right? For as long as I can. Yeah. But you get past that where it's like, okay, it's job replacement levels of income, or now you want to like really upgrade and, go crazy and earn a lot. I think we have to look at some numbers here, and a great tool for that is called.
And by the way, $100 a day is definitely job replacement levels in some countries, in Europe at least.
Oh yeah, no.
So if we can do that, that's great.
not discount. Sometimes we were in a reality distortion field, guys. Families are expensive. I'm just gonna say that. Like we're in a reality distortion field. So when you have kids and stuff, like you think of $100 a day, you're like, yeah, my brats could spend that. They could spend that in a day for sure. If it came to it, right? You think about your most expensive days, and $100 does not feel like a lot of money anymore. But if we just started with that as a baseline, goal, right? A target that we wanted to hit. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Looks like there we go. Got it right there. And I'm going to go over to this desktop, and there we go. And I'm going to optimize so you just have like a single clip there. But now you guys should be able to see I am on whattomine.com, and this is the kind of thing that I normally do on my channel. I'm going to do my live streams, but we're going to take a look at the current top of the line GPU that video game channels are using to do their gameplay and to do their streaming. This is kind of like the main event. People love using this one, the RTX 3090 by a company called NVIDIA. And it's top of the line, costs almost $3,000. It's very expensive.
Is that just for the one?
Just for the one. This is not even the computer it goes in. It's just the one component that you stick into your computer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. But we're going to hit calculate here, and a couple of other like notes here. These are all the various different hashing algorithms that this GPU can do. And these are kind of the basic numbers, the basic performance that it might be able to achieve. Now, if you were really into this scene and you said, you know what, I've done some testing. I think, for example, I can do better than this. I can make this card do 120 mega hashes instead of the baseline that it normally says of 114. Then you can always customize these numbers. But these are sort of not bad for somebody who's just starting out. And then there's a cost basis for the power. Let's just say that we're in Western Europe. For example, Claudia, what is the cost for power where you live?
Yeah, it's about $350 for each megawatt hour at the moment in Spain. It's absolutely crazy.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just pretend like,
because they've got some issues with Algeria at the moment, so it's
okay. So we're gonna bring that. We're gonna move the decimal there and turn it down to 35 US cents, right, in US dollars per kilowatt hour. Yeah, and which is pretty high by most people's standards. But we're going to also sort for profitability over 7 days. We want to mine for the averages, I think, a lot like how we might want to invest, like in dollar cost averaging. We'll just go with a very average strategy there. And then the exchanges that we might want to use to get our price data from. I'm going to remove a couple that I don't like to use. So we'll get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of Binance because I don't use the mainline Binance. Get rid of the Trex and Bit4X, a couple others as well. And we'll just simplify this just a little bit more so that we know that we're getting really great financial data that gives us the most accurate current price, and then hit calculate. And we go down this list and it shows us roughly how much you would earn every day from that GPU, even with 35 cents per kilowatt hour power, which is very high internationally. You'd still be earning about $4.39 every single day in profit above your costs.
With a $3,000 investment.
Yeah, that's the thing. But here's what gets people excited about doing crypto mining, especially with these graphics cards. I'm going to stop that share real fast. But
Okay, so in short, you need to invest about 70 to 80K to get that $100 a day.
That sounds about
Yeah.
right, because that's the baseline right there. Yeah, if you do that math. So basically, you're going to be investing almost 1 to 2 years salary into the infrastructure to be able to replace your yearly salary.
Yeah.
Roughly. And that's just, don't take this as legal, financial, or business advice. That's not something that I'm telling any of your watchers, right, your audience, to like go and do. But
it's just to get a general idea of how it'll work.
Yeah. Not consider that's the top of the line. There are other graphics cards that people will occasionally be interested in that offer a better return on investment because of the way that they implement their mining rigs or their mining farms. They might be lower cost to acquire, but give a slightly better result for certain other coins. And so there are so many other factors to take into consideration. But one that I think is very important is, Claudio, you just mentioned, okay, 70 to 80K to maybe get job or income replacement levels or side hustle levels. When you do that with GPUs, well, I just mentioned that this is a graphics card that has an aftermarket resale value. So even after you've mined with it, I've got some GPUs that, even though they are now 4 years old, I can sell them for more than I bought them after mining on them for 4 years.
Because the prices went up and the demand went up, right?
Yes. So supply chain kind of took a hit. These are other sides of the equation that you have to balance out, and you have to figure out, okay, what's the resale factor? What is, perhaps, for example, not to get too deep into like strategy, but maybe you're a business person, maybe you're familiar with the concept of amortization, right? Or taking losses on your taxes. And so you might have a strategy there that serves you very well too. So there's definitely more to it than just okay, I have to buy this much to be able to replace my job.
Right? And how long do they actually last in terms of lifespan?
It depends. I've seen some GPUs that last 6 years, 7 years, and without any problems, because they're designed to withstand very, very high heat. They're designed to withstand very, very high humidity, because people use video gaming systems all around the world, even in the islands. So yeah, they're very robust pieces of equipment, actually.
What about the cooling system? I mean, if you were to invest 70, 80K, would you need cooling system as well to ensure the 5 to 6 years lifespan, or do you think that you could do without it?
So yes, you would want to have a supplemental cooling system, but the way that you set that up is through what's called airside economy. So you wouldn't necessarily run, aircon inside of a building in order to bring the temperature down. You would just pass more air over the equipment. So set up big fans on one side of your facility and on the other side, and make sure that you exchange the air inside of the facility a certain number of times every hour.
Okay, that's cool. So with the price that you've been showing me when you're sharing the screen with $4.50, is that considering the electricity price, right? So removing the electricity cost, then that's the profit that you take home on average, right?
Yeah, that's right. But if you consider it as more of like a dollar cost average subsidy, as many people do, sometimes they'll just get into the equipment because they want to access the non-KYC crypto. They just don't want to buy their cryptocurrency from exchange. So people mine for different reasons. And if that's a strategy that maybe somebody in your audience is interested in, well, let me just share that screen just one more time, and just kind of show that the same parameters in place. You take a look at this, just the bare revenue every single day is just over $7 US. So you might pay the electricity, but you will have acquired $7 worth of Ethereum in that 24 hours. And then, fast forward 100 days later, that's, you're knocking on the door of $1,000. And if the price of Ethereum goes up between now and then, you're experiencing all that alpha, all that upside.
Absolutely. And the equipment pays for itself as well.
Yeah, it absolutely does. So if you wanted to work that into some kind of a cost calculator or run the numbers on a spreadsheet for yourself, just so that you know kind of roughly when to expect that break-even point, then that'd be a really great way to plan your purchases as well if you want to go into the space. That said, we're at a phase of the market right now where some people have questions about whether or not we're nearing the end of this bull market, this bull run, and whether or not we're going to see kind of a return to some kind of like support discovery right in the future, or like if we're going to continue to like bounce downward and ultimately correct a bit lower. So this is, in many people's minds, this is not the right time to buy equipment for mining, but you know, everyone, like your audience is going to have their own unique situation.
Has their own strategy and situation. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I do need to just say that very few of us who are in the crypto mining content space are urging people to buy equipment right now. In fact, we're urging a lot of caution at this precise moment.
What about using solar panels for supplying the electricity required for mining? Would that require way too much, or do you see that as something achievable as well?
Yeah, there's some people
in terms of cost. I mean, in terms of cost, would that take a much longer period of time before you could see some return on your investment?
It really depends on the area of the world where you live. For example, in the United States, there are federal subsidies for people who install any kind of green energy or renewable energy to their home. So if you live next to a water source, hydroelectric power is phenomenal because it's plentiful. You don't need to wait for the sun to come out for it to work. Yeah. So if you're lucky enough to live next to a moving water source where you can install hydroelectric generators, well, the federal government will pay you for installing it. So
wow. And you're making a lot of money from mining as well, because then all that profit goes into your pocket rather than what we've seen earlier on when you were showing me the $4.50. That would be probably double that, right?
Yeah, absolutely could be. It absolutely could be. And it all depends on how much power you can generate on site. Solar panels on average, they really wouldn't be able to provide enough, depending on the size of your home. Unless you lived in a mansion, right? That was all just a rambler, right? One floor with a lot of roof space. It'd be difficult to lay out enough of those solar panels to be able to run a mid-sized mining farm, but a small rig. And then all of the other appliances you might normally run at home, not too difficult to run, some mining gear off of solar. It's done. People do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Now let's talk about 2022. So I mean, it's hard to say what's going to happen in the future. Right? Nobody has the crystal ball, but unless you're hiding it somewhere under the table and you want to take it on and say, yeah, this is what's going to happen. But how do you foresee mining for 2022? I mean, do you still think it's going to be profitable, assuming that the bull run continues, assuming that we're not going to go into a bear market? Or even if we do go into a mini bear market for say 3-4 months, 6 months, and then the remaining will be bullish once again, do you foresee mining as profitable? And also with regards to the equipment, I mean, I know you probably you probably keep an eye all the time on the prices of GPUs just to see what they're like, how are things going, are people still interested in mining, etc. So how do you foresee this sort of stuff for 2022 based on your experience so far and what you've been seeing?
Well, I appreciate that you ask. With 2022, what makes it very difficult is that top consistent earner for GPU mining, Ethereum, is very likely to switch to proof of stake, which will kick a lot of GPU miners off of the most profitable coin all overnight. In the same way that we saw a lot of the hash rate drop off in China, but it was absorbed somewhere else, we're going to see a lot of the hash rate drop off from a coin that it can't just be shifted so easily from one coin to another coin. There may be some other coins that step up to absorb the hash rate that those GPUs are able to offer. But then if those projects don't have the right roadmap to be able to offer market utility and then have the price go up as well, the slice of the pie that all those miners take will be so thin and the value of it's so little that it might discourage mining in early 2022, moving into the middle of 2022, and shake a lot of small scale miners out of the game. So I think that we are going to see, I mean, it's sad, but we're going to see blood in the streets and we are going to see some people lose. That's first off, that we're going to see some people lose because they haven't planned for this. So, and it's not because the content creators on this side of crypto are giving people bad advice. I mentioned it before. We're trying to warn people, be cautious, know what you're doing if you are going to buy equipment right now, and have a plan for whatever this potential outcome is. If we break to the downside and then Ethereum also goes proof of stake and you're holding, 100 GPUs that all cost whatever, $3,000 each, it might not be very comfortable for you, because guess what? That hardware has a market too. And that market can be illiquid as well, because there's way too much supply and not enough demand.
And is there any chance that those people could actually switch to Bitcoin, or is that just no way that it could happen?
Potentially it could happen, but it would require, there are a couple of moving parts that would have to align very, very well for that to definitely happen. And historically, it hasn't played out that way, unfortunately.
Okay, so what would you say is the next competitor on the list? Would you say it's Monero or someone else after Ethereum?
Well, I've got a lot of love for Monero, and I really do like Monero, but it may not be the best choice for many people. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just one last
Yeah,
time to
sure.
show.
Actually, I was going to ask you what is the profitability for Monero? Because if we can look at that, and we can kind of estimate what people can expect in 2022 once Ethereum moves to proof of stake.
Yeah, no,
You could
phenomenal.
definitely get a general idea. And also, what about the difficulty on Monero? Does the difficulty go up the more people mine? I mean, does it play out the same as Ethereum and Bitcoin, or?
Yeah, so it does. It has a difficulty algorithm, a difficulty adjustment algorithm, similar to how Bitcoin and Ethereum do, and it moves back and forth depending on what the network conditions are. So,
Yeah.
and there are trackers for that. There are ways to be a little bit more tuned into that. We're going to continue as our standard to use the top of the line GPU, only because it'll keep our perspective, simple for this this show today. But I've moved the price. I'm going to move it actually to 10 cents per kilowatt hour, which is not the most common amount, but it is possible. It's something that can be found in, at least in the United States, in any one of the states here. So now we see that Ethereum is really high on the list, but I'm also going to put a volume filter here, Claudio, for the results, just to use this simple tool, so your audience has something they can use after this video is over. But this volume filter shows us the daily trading volume of whatever this coin is, and this is measured in Bitcoin, so number of Bitcoin per day in trading volume. Anything less than, say, 10, or we could even pump it all the way up, as you can see there, to 100 Bitcoin per day in trading volume, to see how that filters out some of the other competitors. And now it's literally just Ethereum and then a hash rate aggregator called NiceHash. That would be the only other place to go to get any amount of daily payout. That said, I don't think that's a great plan for most people. Bitcoin Z, I'm shocked to see that they're, oh, that's funny. They gamed the system and they measured it in Litecoin. There's a little bit of a glitch. That's funny. But yeah, outside of Ethereum, there's literally no other coin that's being actively tracked that can absorb all of that hash rate and then still trade with enough daily volume for anybody who wants to sell off their earnings to be able to get out. But as we go down that filter and try to go to 50, and we may have another coin pop up. Yeah, nope, still nothing. So that's the hardest part, is trying to map out which coins might be able to survive.
What about Zcash? Zcash, I saw Zcash there.
So that was a Bitcoin Z, and they've got a very similar logo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there's Monero down there, and Ethereum Classic as well. Well, you've got Ethereum Classic as an option, no? Or is that not?
Yeah, no, Ethereum Classic absolutely is an option, and it runs the same type of Solidity code and smart contracts.
But your rewards would be halved pretty much.
Basically, yeah. However, once that happens, it is entirely possible that Ethereum Classic can kind of like step up, or there's another network called Flux, and it's also here. It's got roughly 4 times the daily trading volume that Ethereum Classic does right now, though it has, roughly 20% of what Ethereum's daily trading volume is. So yeah, you see the daily trading volume of almost 250 Bitcoin for Ethereum. It's a lot that goes through that system. And this network Flux would have to be able to go that much farther up. Now, I also have a GPU mining portfolio. This is something that I share with my audience, because this is what we're interested in, is trying to, if the best we can, trying to keep our finger on the pulse of what could happen when Ethereum drops off the network and we can no longer mine it. But Flux is very, very high on the list of mining profits for a paper trade portfolio that we've run over here. But you see right here, Claudio, the market cap for this coin is still only in the hundreds of millions. It hasn't even crossed $1 billion yet. For it to do even 10 times its current volume, to pop up an order of magnitude, it would only have a market cap of about $3.5 billion. So it could move up potentially without being too disruptive to the rest of the cryptocurrency ecosystem. It could move up to be able to accommodate 10 times the amount of trading volume. And then I think maybe you see where I'm going with this. If it did have, say, almost 500 daily Bitcoin of trading volume, and an equal match in its market cap going up by 10x, it would survive. It would be okay. It would not be overvalued. Even the coin price itself, if people are fixated on unit bias, right, being concerned about being able to own one full coin, that would only bring its current price up to under $20, right? $15 to change to be able to
that
go
would
up by
make it
10x.
profitable for miners.
Yeah, absolutely would. But this particular project it has inherent utility. It's got a great roadmap. It has great partnerships. The tech behind it is wonderful. I've personally interviewed every side of their team, and I vetted them. So I have no reservations talking about this project, very positively. But there are other coins too. It's just to say, like, that's one of a handful of projects where GPUs could be used to continue to mine and keep people who are miners today in profit next year once Ethereum goes offline or goes off of proof of work. So yeah, that's just one possibility. Others have talked about, maybe Ravencoin, but Ravencoin I don't think has quite the same characteristics. Yes, the unit bias won't throw people off, currently only valued at 8 cents per coin. So if it did have a significant surge upward, the unit bias wouldn't be something that puts off investors, especially not retail investors. And then the current overall market cap being just below $1 billion, it too could go up by 10x and not exceed what we would normally consider a reasonable, healthy, major market cap, without it like completely wrecking of all the rest of the liquidity that's captive within the cryptocurrency markets. So some people look at Ravencoin as a potential successor to Ethereum. I'm not quite so optimistic about Ravencoin being sort of the successor to Ethereum, but I do see it as a valid option for GPU miners to use as an alternative now. And then so many others as well. Firo, the guys that sent me this t-shirt, shout out to Ruben Yap, they're the steward of that project. It's a fun project, also proof of work, fairly low market cap, again, could 10x. The individual coin price wouldn't throw off retail investors, and the overall market cap wouldn't break anything, right? It would only be valued in the hundreds of millions if it did a 10x right now. And then, of course, they would love to have that extra security of more miners being pointed at their network. So there are all kinds of projects that I think could just in the aggregate, we just go across all of these, right? So Conceal, a few others as well, like Zano or Beam, and then a couple of other notable projects. And Ethereum Classic, as you mentioned before, it could literally 10x also and not destroy the market right now, as well as some others that are within the Cardano ecosystem, like Ergo, that are actually proof of work. Most people don't know about them. Kind of an oddball.
And how easy is it for you to switch? So say, for example, you decide that once Ethereum goes to proof of stake, Ethereum Classic becomes the most profitable for, say, a week's time, but then after a week, it drops profitability. So how easy is it for you to switch from that to another coin for mining?
Well, it depends on what you use for mining. I'm going to go ahead and live.
So let's say with your setup with the GPU mining.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I've got a little visual aid here, and I don't know that I'm already signed into this tool. It may, I've been kicked out since the last time I logged in because my rigs are set to just like set and forget. But I'll go ahead and hop off screen share here. If your audience were to go to, the, there we go. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. Better safe than sorry.
Right. If your audience were to go to hiveos.myb.lol, it is a referral link you can use, or you can use Mine Your Biz, all one word, as a referral code, and it'll give you a credit to mine there. But your first 4 mining rigs are free to try anyway, so they won't charge you anything to use this. This is mining software that can be run on any PC computer that has graphics cards in it, or just a traditional desktop computer or laptop even. Even if you have a server, rack mount server lying around, you can run this software. And then you have a web dashboard to very simply arrange different kinds of wallets and different kinds of mining pools you might want to mine to, and different kinds of, we call them flight sheets, that coordinate the hardware to mine the way that you want to mine. And in most cases, after you've set all that initial groundwork up, all that foundational work up, changing from one coin to the next is as simple as dropping down from a menu after you've predefined your wallets and everything else that are supposed to be mined to, but dropping down from a menu and saying, I want to mine that coin, the one that goes to that pool and to that wallet, clicking 2 buttons and your machine changes. It's very, very simple with a tool like HiveOS.
Okay, so they did automate it and they did find a way to facilitate that. That's really good. Now, I do have a question with relation to, so we understand now that in 2022, we could expect some major changes for miners, especially with Ethereum switching to proof of stake, should they do that. But it's not game over. I mean, there are alternatives out there. That's the important thing, even if profitability may drop. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. But I do want to ask you about cloud mining, because a lot of projects have been reaching out to me recently. Is like, do you want to review our project? It's this cloud mining platform, and I'm always worried about those. Like, I've heard some people say, no, stay away from those. They're scammy, etc. So I'm curious to get your thoughts as a miner. What do you think of cloud mining? I mean, is it scammy or is it profitable? We're not going to name any projects here. It's just your personal opinion on cloud mining in general.
Yeah, I think cloud mining has gotten a very bad name, and I think much of that bad reputation is deserved. But it's not. It's like so many other things in life. It's not. It is not necessarily true of every company in that space. So there are exceptions to that rule. But yeah, generally, a lot of cloud mining stuff, cloud mining contracts, and cloud mining companies, generally speaking, you're not going to break even on your initial investment, and almost always it's better off to just buy the coins. Almost always.
Okay.
There are some exceptions. I don't want to, like you mentioned, don't want to name names, don't want to shill or whatever. But there are some exceptions, and I have seen a couple of good actors in the space, especially this bull run. There have been a couple that have conducted themselves to high standards, and so you always want to be careful, right? When you say like, well, everything in that category is a scam. It's like smart contract networks, right? To somebody, smart contract networks like Ethereum and then Polkadot, right? And then Cosmos and all the rest, they're all a scam because they're not Bitcoin, right? So you want to be careful being too extreme. So yeah.
Okay, I understand. So there are some that are actually profitable, even though they're cloud mining. Okay.
Yeah. And I prove it in my portfolio tracker where the numbers don't lie, right? Like we did some paper trades of a couple of different projects, and some cloud mining companies have tokenized the participation on their network. So it's as simple as just buying a token, and then your token performs based on their profit margins, based on what they've mined. So again, without naming names, just saying there's so many different ways to handle fractional ownership in a business now. So I'm surprised it took so long for cloud mining companies to go there, but they finally did. And I think that was one of the smartest things they could have done.
Okay, that sounds good. So probably in the future, we may see a change, a switch or a shift in that direction where people could say, okay, now it is profitable and we do have some trusted actors. Cool. Now, I do have a question which may seem interesting to you and to the audience as well. Is like, what would it take for a person like you who's so deep into mining to switch from proof of work to proof of stake and just absolutely sell all of your rigs and say, that's it, I'm done. I'm just going to stake my coins to a validator, or maybe I'm even going to set up a validator myself, a node, and I'm going to run that. I'm going to set up the VPS. I'm going to be buying all that sort of stuff, but everything's virtual, right? I no longer have to worry about the hardware. What would it take for that to happen? I mean, what would you?
Well, I've got.
And is it even possible?
Yeah, I know it's possible, but the first thing is you can never make a tinkerer stop. So here I am with the mining, technically a proof of stake mining rig. This is just a single board computer, a Raspberry Pi that can be used for staking. And then it's got a really large storage volume underneath. So
it does require electricity.
This one does, but it actually costs less every month to run than a VPS does. So plus I'm a tinkerer. So, I love to tinker. It's hard to take that away from somebody who's a miner. So that'd be the first thing, is that to take me away from mining, it would have to still look an awful lot like tinkering, right? So that would definitely get my attention. But to your point, I mean, in years past, I have set up master nodes because there are some proof of work projects that also have a master node component, or they have hybrid consensus where they use proof of work on one side and they use proof of stake on the other side for some other portion of their tokenomics or some other portion of the value added service that they offer. So I'm not opposed to it. I think many miners, you'll find, especially in 2021, many at-home miners and even mid-scale miners, they're far more open to this than maybe ever before. The idea that like, okay, well, I've got collateral here. I mean, let's just say you did really great, right, as a GPU miner, and you are up by like $10,000 in your profits. Yeah. Just as an example. And that's exactly how much it costs for you to buy the collateral to stake for some kind of a master node or just for a validator on a different network. Well, the shrewd business person says, well, I had that profit sitting around anyway. I don't want to be taxed for selling it. So why not put it into a validator, I mean,
and generate
then
extra income.
exactly. It's just sitting there in a wallet, not doing much anyway, or at least stake it to a validator if I can, depending on what it is that I've just earned. But stake it to a validator at least. Maybe I don't have enough for my own full validator, but stake it to a different validator and earn some yield, right? Like most miners are thinking this way this time around and being much more aggressive about making their crypto work for them. So I'd be open to it.
So you're more of a hybrid person then. You would not do like a complete switchover, but you would keep the mining rigs and also do staking, proof of stake.
Yeah, you could say I'm a proof of work minimalist, but I'm a profit maximalist. Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
Perfect. Absolutely. Yeah. As long as you fill your pockets, that's the important thing at the end of the day, right? And you're happy. Cool. Seth, thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming on and discussing what we've discussed, the topics of is mining going to be profitable in 2022? I think you got your answer now, finally. And by the way, if you want to follow Seth, Mine Your Biz, you can find a link to his YouTube channel down below in the pinned comment and also in the description of this video if you're watching this on Odyssey. Thank you very much for coming on. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.